For this video, I just wanted to talk a little bit about these Shimano SH51 SPD cleats, or so they appear to be. In reality, these are actually not. These are actually fake ones that I bought off eBay. I was really daft. I wanted to buy a new pair of cleats. I went on eBay, thought, yeah, £6, that seems probably fairly legit. And then I had a bit of a think afterwards, just after I pressed the order button. I was kind of like, yeah, there's a very good chance those are going to be fake. Did a little bit of digging into Reddit and a few other places, and yeah, didn't realise that fake cleats are apparently a very widespread thing. So what I thought I'd do is just let you have a look and see the difference between the real ones and the fake ones, just so you can get a very direct comparison and kind of see what to look out for. So if we take the first look at the packaging here, generally everything looks kind of above board and okay at this point. You know, we've got the sort of plastic bubble packaging. The print quality is generally okay, the fonts are all correct, the logos are all sort of where you'd expect them to be. Nothing really looks particularly stinking and mega fake at the moment. Again, even if we flip them over here, you know, I would be expecting to see like, oh, there'd be really bad printing errors, there'd be spelling mistakes, but everything all looks more or less kind of okay here. The big giveaway for me, however, is actually you'll see the bottom of the packaging. Included in the blister here, there's a little sort of cheap, crappy, IKEA grade 4mm Allen key, which I've never known Shimano to give away tools for free in kits of stuff before, so that was a bit of a funny one for me for sure. So let's take a closer look at the cleats themselves and what you actually get in the box here. So on the left hand side here, I've got the genuine Shimano SH51 cleats, and on the right here, I've got the fake ones that came to me from eBay. So again, it's one of these things, taking that first sort of look, you think, yeah, okay, fair enough, but again, once you just look that little bit closer, things just aren't quite how they seem. I'll take a little bit of a closer look at the cleat itself, but the first big difference is actually the finishing of the cleat. The genuine Shimano one's just much tidier looking, much better finish on it, and just generally kind of a bit more legit looking. The really noticeable thing that you can see right away is the washer that comes on top of the cleat as well. So you'll see if you look at the genuine one on the left hand side here, you'll see the Shimano one has two nice evenly drilled holes, the same size, centered, with a countersink in them, whereas you'll see the fake one, the holes cut in that washer are an absolute mess. You can see the hole on the left there is a lot smaller than the one on the right. I mean, both of those are a lot smaller than the genuine Shimano ones. They're not countersunk as well, and actually you can't really see it on the angle here. I'll show you in a different angle, but the washer itself isn't completely flat. The Shimano one is totally flat and really sort of well made, but the fake one's kind of got a bit of a curve to it that doesn't really look very convincing. The other big difference is if you look at the actual screws that come with it to hold it into the shoe as well, you'll see the genuine Shimano ones have a very small kind of like 1mm of shank below the countersink. I don't know if you'd quite call that a shank, but yeah, it's not just like a kind of straight countersink into a screw. There's a little kind of 1mm kind of straight part there as well. Again, if you look at the fake ones, you'll see these are just kind of like plain countersunk screws. They're really basic. They do have 4mm Allen keyholes in them, but you know, really just kind of not the same. To take a look at the cleats themselves here, at first glance you think, well, actually they look fairly convincing, they look pretty alike, but if I move these around in the light a little bit, you'll sort of see the difference in finish between the two of them here. The big difference is that the Shimano one here on the left, I don't know if you can tell, but it looks like it's a lot more kind of like plated or anodized to finish, whereas the fake one on the right, it's really just kind of like it's a coating of paint more than anything else. It feels, you know, like if you rubbed the Shimano one with the tip of a screwdriver or something, it would be totally fine and shrug it off. Whereas it feels like the fake guy would just kind of would scratch off and wear down really quickly. So it feels a lot softer and a lot less convincing. Again, if we just flip these over, you can really see it particularly clearly on the reverse as well. The Shimano one on the left just looks a lot sharper and a lot more convincing. where the fake one's just a lot softer. You can see the little spikes that dig into the cleat plate in the bottom of your shoe. The Shimano ones are much sharper, much tidier looking, whereas the fake ones have got wee kind of pools of paint around them. They're just not quite as tidily made. And again, it's maybe hard to tell with the focus here. I'll see if I can get the camera to pick up on that. But the little lettering at the top of the front of the cleat there as well. The Shimano one's just a lot cleaner. It's a lot easier to see. And it doesn't have that kind of like 0.5 millimetre of paint coating thing going on with it. Again, just taking a little bit of a closer look at the washers here, you can really see a huge difference here. This is probably the biggest, most notable part for me. The fake one on the right that I'm focused on at the moment, you can see, like I said in the wider shot, that the holes are not even, they're not centered, and they're not countersunk, whereas if I just pull focus over to the Shimano one, you can see it's just manufactured to a much higher standard. The holes are the same size, they're centered on the washer, they've got this nice countersunk finish, and they just sort of look fairly sharp. Whereas again, if we pull focus back to the fake ones, you can see everything just looks a bit rubbish and a bit rough. I think this shot here kind of shows the big giveaway for me. Again, you can see the genuine Shimano one on the left and the fake one on the right here. The Shimano one, the screws fit absolutely perfectly and flush into the washer, which in turn fits flush under the surface of the cleat itself. Whereas with the fake one, you can see the two screws sit at slightly different heights on account of the screws being drilled at slightly different sizes and not centered, and that the holes are not countersunk, and that the screws are not the right shape for the washers. So yeah, that's the bit that would concern me in terms of mounting that into a shoe, that the Shimano one's all sitting nice and flush and neatly, and when I come to pull that out of a pedal, it's going to come out nice and smoothly. Whereas with those screws sitting proud of the washer and actually sitting outside the surface of the cleat itself, that there's a potential that might end up getting stuck in a pedal when things go a little bit wrong, as they sometimes tend to. So yeah, that's the big worry for me with these. So yeah, like you can see, they're low quality, they're rubbish basically. But the thing that annoys me most about this is that eBay have actually been really bad about dealing with the whole counterfeit item thing. For me, like SPD cleats are a kind of important safety item when I'm riding. If I have a big crash, I want to be able to know that I can unclip out my pedals, not be attached to my bike when I go hurtling down a hill or something like that. And with my normal Shimano pedals, Shimano cleats, the genuine ones that I've had in the past, that's always been totally fine. If I've needed to get out the pedals, I can get out the pedals. The problem with these is that when you see the bottom of them, the way that nothing quite sits the way it should, I just get that fear that, like I would end up stuck in my pedals, hurtling down a hill, and everything would all go horribly wrong. So that's something I wouldn't really want to happen. Now, like I said, the price of these was kind of frustrating. You're talking about 18 to 20 quid from sort of normal reputable bike shops in Glasgow for a pair of cleats, which I thought was quite a lot for what a kind of seemingly simple item there were. Interestingly enough, the way I actually got the genuine ones was not by going out to a bike shop and buying a genuine pair of cleats. It was actually going out to a bike shop and buying a whole other set of pedals. The Shimano SH51s are the standard single release cleats, so they only kind of twist out one way. And like I say, 18 to 20 quid to buy a pair of cleats. But if I'd gone to a shop, I bought a pair of M520 pedals, which included the cleats as well. So exactly the same cleats, but including the pedals as well for like £28, which is crazy that it's only a tenner more to get a complete pair of pedals and cleats than it is to just buy a pair of cleats. Which, like I say, it's daft. I don't know how they work out the maths. It's all a little bit silly, but that's just kind of the way it is. So I just ended up getting an extra pair of pedals, basically, which is kind of something I wanted to try anyway. Long story there, I'll talk about that in a different thing. But yeah, so yeah. Moral of the story is you think you're saving yourself a couple of quid buying this stuff off eBay. It looks vaguely convincing on the surface, but as I showed you, when you dig in, look a little bit closer, it's crap. You're potentially endangering your safety. So just go to a proper bike shop and buy a proper pair. That's the moral of the story here.